Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Edlow, what is the legal basis for asylum?
The INA, Section 208, sets out exactly what asylum is.
Is general economic hardship a legal basis for asylum?
A legal basis? No, it is not. There are 5 recognized grounds of asylum.
Is general violence or crime alone a legal basis for asylum?
It is not, Congressman.
Is political instability alone a legal basis for asylum?
Not alone, no.
Does filing an asylum claim after entering illegally or improperly negate the fact that the individual entered illegally to begin with?
No, it doesn't. However, when someone comes in at the port of entry, claims credible fear, has a positive credible fear determination, at that point they are given the opportunity to present an asylum claim. Under Section 235, they are supposed to be detained. As we know, that's not been happening, but they are able to stay in the country to file that claim. It is not. They do not have legal status in the country. They are an asylum applicant at that point.
Thank you. Are you aware that the CBP and Troy Miller, CBP acting commissioner, have recently tweeted that most of those claiming asylum at the border don't qualify for asylum as economic migrants?
I'm not aware of the tweet, but I would agree with it.
Yeah, that's great. Prior to the Biden administration, how were the words urgent humanitarian reasons and significant public benefit in a parole statute interpreted by DHS?
So I don't think there's necessarily been a change in the actual interpretation of the wording, but where I think there's a change is the sheer volume of categorical parole programs that we've seen. I'm not going to sit here and say that there were not some categorical parole programs under the Trump administration. I, for the most part, would have liked to have seen them go away. I don't think that they're lawful, with the exception of maybe the Cuba Accords that allowed for the Cuban family reunification. The remainder of the programs probably should not have been there. However, we saw maybe 20, 30,000 people over the course of the 4 years get paroled in under these types of programs, whereas now we're seeing mass parole where in the months prior to them stopping parole, given the court decisions and some other things, we saw months where there was over 100,000 people paroled in that month. So the sheer volume of parole numbers is astronomical now. Plus they're doing it for specific countries, whole populations of those countries that they have a sponsor here. That's not case by case. That I don't see if they have humanitarian needs to get here, they can come through other means. They can come to the border and ask for credible fear, as what we expected before. This is not an appropriate use of the parole authorities.
Thank you very much. I know a lot of numbers going. You talk about paroles are going up. We've seen numbers in migrants found dead on U.S. soil also go up. Mr. Scott, CBP personnel have reported informally that more than 1,700 migrants have been found dead on U.S. soil during this administration's watch, Biden and Mayorkas' watch. More than 500 were found dead in fiscal year 2021, and reportedly more than 800 were found dead in fiscal year 2022. The 5 years prior to fiscal year 21, the number had not exceeded 300 in any given year. Why is the number of dead migrants found on our soil increasing so much?
Because chaos kills people, and we've created a chaotic border situation. Additionally, Border Patrol has a search and rescue team that would normally just respond and be out in remote desert areas looking for people in advance. And they're processing civil immigration cases, so we're leaving vast sections of border open, and I would argue those numbers are probably underreported. I was down at the border recently talking to some local sheriffs, and they're telling me that they're finding bodies on ranches. There are people dead along the border they believe have just crossed that are not included in CBP's numbers. But chaos kills people, and that's what we've created on our border.
I appreciate that. And I have 50 seconds left. I know people run out of time when they want to answer questions, so I want to yield the rest of my time to Mr. Wolf. If there's anything you want to continue to say about this hearing and what you've experienced, I'd appreciate it.
No, again, I think what we did during the Trump administration is every day, we weren't perfect, but every day we worked to install policies and operations that furthered secure that border, that actually upheld the rule of law day after day after day. Some we got right, some we got wrong at the end of the day. I think if you look at the overall evidence of the past 27 months, that is not the case. They have specifically torn down policies and put others in place that make that border significantly less secure, not only from a humanitarian perspective, but also from a national security and a public safety perspective as well.
Thank you very much. I ran out of time, so I yield back.